We are back. Welcome to another show of the Trainwell podcast, where we, of course, inspire you to move more, to get stronger, and have fun. Say hi, Trainer Darian.
Hi, Trainer Darian.
We are talking today about metabolism myths, because this is a very common topic that we as trainers get all the time. My metabolism's slowing. I can't do anything about it. So on and so forth. And so today we're going to hopefully break down some myths and talk to you about not only the problems, but what actually works. Right, D?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited.
All right. Myth number one. People come to me all the time and say, skinny people just have fast metabolisms and overweight people have super, super slow ones. Darian, is this true? True or false?
This would be a myth. In fact, actually, people who live in larger bodies often have a higher absolute metabolic rate. And that's because more body mass does require more energy to maintain. So there was a study in 2005 in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that found that body size explained about 80% of variation in metabolic rate between individuals. So just because someone has a smaller body size or a bigger body size, you wouldn't really know anything about how their metabolism is functioning. And in fact, it's interesting because people often think they need to eat less to, lose weight and improve their metabolism. But in fact, when you eat less, you slow your metabolism down. And everyone knows about that the Biggest Loser study they did on the metabolisms of those contestants, and found that because they had eaten so little during the show, their metabolism slowed down quite a bit, and then they weren't ever really able to regain that metabolic pace. There might have been a few flaws with that study, but overall, it does seem that when you're not consistently not eating enough to fuel your body does start to slow down.
Everything slows down. You ever seen people competing for the bodybuilding shows or physique?
Mm-hmm.
Like their blinking slows down. Like they'll look at you and blink slow because the muscles slow down. Everything slows down. Everything halts because there's simply not enough fuel there. Don't fall prey to that.
Yeah, that actually brings us really nicely right into our next topic here, which is that people tend to think that eating small meals more frequently boosts metabolism. So is that true? Will that boost your metabolism?
Not at all. Not at all. I guess we should preface this by metabolism really is, in a third grade language, it's turning your food into energy. That's like metabolism, right? Think of it, your body's an engine, you ingest food and then you use it for fuel, right? That whole system is metabolism. And so eating small meals, no, completely. That matter of fact, years ago, it was always the 6 meals a day to boost metabolism, because there was this thought, which is called the thermic effect of food, which basically when you eat, you actually burn more calories from energy expenditure digesting, right? And so that it's only 10%, it's tiny. It's even less than 10%, right? So 3 meals versus 6 meals, it really doesn't matter. They say even that 3 meals is better because you give your gut a break to digest all that food, right? In between big meals. Long story short, again, whether it's 2,000 calories broken up into 5 meals a day, whether it's 3,000 calories in 3 meals a day, I wouldn't do it in one meal. That'd be pretty brutal. But ideally, spread it out at least over 3s. Those smaller meals do not, I repeat, do not speed up the metabolism. We'll talk about what actually does here in a second. But along that line, and Darian, I am Hispanic. I love hot foods.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, he brought us up a bushel of green chili last week. And he's convinced, right, that because he eats these green chilies, right, it somehow magically speeds up his metabolism. So do certain foods like chili peppers, right, or green tea, do they magically speed up metabolism?
They might have a very small thermogenic effect, but in the big picture, you would probably, to get any sustainable, faster metabolic rates from eating foods like this, you would have to eat so many of these foods all the time. So it really wouldn't make much of a big difference in the big picture. So I think if you don't like spicy foods or, foods like that, there's no reason to eat them, thinking that you're going to, magically improve your metabolism because you do so. You feel like your dad
Well,
has a revved up
no,
metabolic rate?
but no, he definitely does not. But don't let that stop you from eating your green chili, folks. Get your green chili in, get your jalapeno peppers in, or jalapeno, as some of my fellow colleagues would say. Keep that in.
So, okay. There's also this idea out there that as we get older, our metabolism naturally decreases. I think this is like a really good one to talk about. So, fill us in, Joey. What are the deets?
Okay, metabolism does not get slower with age, independent of activity reduction or muscle reduction. Okay, so basically, what they have found, and my wife's a pharmacist, right? They have tried to make drugs that speed up metabolism. They don't work. What they found that as people age, I want to say this clearly, as people age, the main thing that lowered their processes of turning fuel into or food into fuel was that they didn't move as much. They sat more. They didn't strength train, right? None of their step count was like less than 2,000 or something like that, right? Let me hit you with this, okay? A massive study, 2021 study of 6,400 people worldwide. This isn't just in like California, right? It showed that the metabolic rates was stable from ages 20 to 60. That's 40 years. 40. That's quite a timeline there before it actually declined. So, long story short, metabolism independent of muscle and strength training and activity level does not somehow slow. Okay? It's tied directly to more of activity reduction and muscle
Mhm.
reduction.
Yeah, I think that that is like such a key point for people to understand. Like when we talk about like, oh, well, you lose muscle with age. That's not like this a super clear picture of what's really going on. It's that you're not at staying active in the same way. You're not engaging the fast twitch muscle fibers in the same way. And so therefore the muscle is reducing, which in turn reduces metabolism. But if you continue to stay active, if you continue to stay strength train and focus on power, and we're going to talk about like different tips for like actually improving metabolic rate, um, you won't necessarily see that decline in metabolism as you age.
Well said. Let's get on the
So
last one here.
yeah, let's talk about the last one. So this one is more about exercise, and it's that exercise burns the majority of your calories. So people think that, if they're exercising all the time and like burning high calories, that is what is improving their metabolism. And I cannot wait for you to break this one down because I think people need to know.
So there's this big thing called resting metabolic rate. That is basically the calories you're burning when you're quote unquote resting, right? Not moving. It's different than basal metabolic rate, which is when you're like in bed. But that resting metabolic rate makes up a huge, much more proportion of what you're going to burn all day. And then we're going to talk about muscle here in a sec. But that workout you do, even though it was brutally effective and you were sweating bullets, that 1 hour workout is like what owns the rest of the day is what calories you're burning when you're sleeping, calories you're burning when you're walking to the car, when you're walking upstairs, when you're pacing, when you're accumulating your step count. All that is the big rock. Do you got
Well,
anything else to add?
yeah, I wanted to add, even like people who are like fidgety people, their resting metabolic rate is much higher because they're just like constantly moving. Like I'm a fidgety person. I can't sit still. My hands are always doing something. My feet are always doing something. I'm constantly shaking my leg. So like even fidgety people, because if you really think about it, think about the amount of time you spend exercising. If you go to the gym for like you're like me, you go to the gym for 45 minutes, 4 days a week to lift weights. Think about the percentage of the amount of time that is in comparison to your your whole week. It's like not even 1 hour out of 24 hours in a day. So
It's
it's
a fart
really
and a
not.
hurricane.
Yeah, it's not about the exercise, and it's not even about the calorie burn. Like, that's the thing, is like the calorie burn is pretty irrelevant a lot of the times. It's really so much more about the type of exercise and activity you're doing. That's really going to improve your
So let's
metabolic.
talk. Let's talk about what actually works now. Let's go through this
Yeah,
quick. What do you say?
let's do
So
it. Do
you
it.
hit us with your top two, and I'll give my top two.
Okay, so number one here, I've already touched on it, is build muscle. Like, yes, cardio is an important factor in a well rounded, balanced fitness routine. But when you're building muscle, muscle requires a lot of energy to be sustained. So you're going to improve your metabolic rate the more muscle you have on your frame, because it's going to require more energy. And then the second part of that is prioritizing protein. It's not about, how much or how little you're eating, but it's about which foods are you eating, because certain foods require more energy for the body to utilize. So when you're eating protein, you're boosting your satiety, and you're increasing your thermic effect of food, your TEF.
TEF. Yeah, protein and muscle.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I would say my two would be get your NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, right? Your other activity up. Okay. So stay active throughout the day. That's my number three. When you go to the office or you go to the shopping or grocery store, I want you parking in the furthest parking spot. I want you returning your shopping cart, right? That's a huge thing. I want you taking the stairs, not that damn elevator, at airports or the office or whatever. And I want you filling your water bottle up at the furthest possible water bottle station. Those things really, really add up. So please, please, please don't fall prey to that one workout you do, that little 10% of your day, right? You need to accumulate for the entire day. So get that need up, move more, right? Again, we inspire you to move more, get stronger, and have fun. And my last one would be sleep and stress, because sleep sets the table for everything. We've been talking about that since day one. Sleep at least 7 hours. The research is clear. 7 to 9 hours is like your best window, because that's where you can hit the reset button on everything, and you can reset hormones and insulin sensitivity, and also keep an eye on that stress. Find ways to laugh. Find ways to calm down. Find ways to reflect on the day. Find ways to tune out, right? Watch your favorite Netflix show. Give your body the yin and the yang, the yin being the crazy stuff, the yang being the relaxing stuff. So to give us a recap, metabolism isn't something you hack overnight. It's built on muscle. It's built on movement. It's built on consistency.
Absolutely. Okay, I hope that everybody, you got a lot out of this episode. I know that metabolism can be a really conflicting topic. People think about it all the time. So hopefully we busted some myths for you, and you have a clear strategy for moving forward. And if you want help creating that strategy to build that muscle and to make sure you're, staying on top of your protein, you can meet with one of our personal trainers here at Trainwell. Simply go to the show notes, click the link to start your 14-day free trial.
We will talk to you guys next time. We love you as always. See ya.
Bye.